Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. I've not been barred from the pub or knocked out of the pub. They wouldn't do that to me. I'm one of the best customers. It's Friday night show. We've got lots to talk about. I hope you're all doing well on the show tonight. Friday night show. Boom, boom, boom. Smash a like on the video. Check out them boots as well. A welcome addition to the shelf. Lovely pair. I'll get them out for you in a minute. The pair of boots, you dirty sods. Anyway, lots to get into on the show tonight. Got a bit of an exclusive, if I can remember it. Talking about Ten Hag's last attempt to get some transfer business done. Specifically, Amrabat and Todibo. A lovely pair as well. Some might say. We'll be on about that. We're also going to talk about Graeme Souness' latest verbal diarrhea against anti-United. I don't even mind Souness. He just doesn't like United. He can't stand us. I don't know what he's on about. He don't like United. I don't know why he talks about United. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll also be talking about a few other bits as well. But just, I will forget. I've played the game. I will forget. I've been talking so much tonight. Let him speak, Simon. I've been talking so much probable shite tonight down pub that I need to get this out because, you know, if anyone's ever been in a pub and drank the liquid they've got in there, it can make you get a bit blurry. And I've got to get this out. So keep an eye. This is big news. It's not slow sports news. It's not slow sports news, Simon. It's big news. You're not going to like it. It's big news. Evening mark, food for thought. We could have had Gravenberg, Amrabat and probably Lukaku for the price amount. By the way, I don't want Lukaku. It's just a point, says Tony. It is just a point. He doesn't even want him. I think Delo should play at left back and Wan-Bissaka at right back because Fernandes needs more development and will become a class player. Glazers out, says Brandon. And glory, glory, Man United from Italy, says Matteo. Bellissimo. And Mark, did the Glazers replace the proper physios with lawyers and accountants, says Fernando. Right, this is it. This is it. I can't speak. I can. Keep an eye on the team tomorrow. People are going to be booting the chair now. What? That's it. That's his big reveal. It is. It is. You mentioned burnout the morning. Erik Ten Hag burned the players out. No rotation. Then chose Mount as the first signing. Has no one to blame but himself, says Sakin. Keep an eye on the team tomorrow. And I'm not just meaning the team news coming out at 2 o'clock. Keep an eye on the squad tomorrow. Keep an eye on the team tomorrow. That's what I've been told. That's the big breaking news this afternoon. Keep an eye, Scooby-Doo, on that team tomorrow. Where is Scott McTominay? Where is Harry Maguire? That's what I've been told tonight. Keep an eye on those two for the team tomorrow. Because if McTominay is starting, forget about it. He's not going to be cashed in on in the final week of the window. And if Maguire's on the bench, there's probably not going to cash on him either. Apparently, the story goes like this. On the rumour mill at United, if you keep your ear to the ground outside Carrington, you can hear this in the rumour mill. Ten Hag's last-ditch attempt to get Todibo and Amrabat in is to get rid of McTominay and Maguire in the next week. Now, he wants Maguire gone. He's told him he wants him gone. And he can't understand why Maguire won't go. He can't understand it. I can't bloody understand it. I've got a Cockney accent as well. What's going on with me? McLaren. I'm Dutch. Why am I talking like this? But he can't understand what's going on with Maguire. And he hopes that Maguire's still going to go. Even though there's nothing on the table at the moment. With regards to McTominay, he knows that McTominay is the player he can get some money for. I was told that United thought that West Ham would come in and offer 40 million. Now, that is as terrifying as it is stupid. Obviously, West Ham offered £30 million for Scott McTominay. I think everybody, even Scott McTominay, would have said that's £10 million too much. But United rejected it. And apparently, it's because they thought they were going to get some more. So there is still a door open on that. And United, well, Ten Hag's last-ditch plan is that because there's no money to be made. Like, people keep saying we've got to sell to buy. We can't sell anybody else. There is no, I don't know why nobody talks about this. There is nobody to sell. Donny is a loan deal and there's not a lot of interest in that. Dean Henderson is a loan to buy. Eric Bailly, we're basically giving him away for a packet of crisps. So the only money that can be raised is Maguire and McTominay. So Ten Hag's plan over the next few days, and it's not guaranteed, it's set in jelly. It's that shaky. It's, can he remove those players in the next few days to give himself some money to buy Amrabat and Todibo, who incredibly are just sat there on the shelf with a price where they're both Fiorentina and Marseille will sell. And I don't know whether you saw it tonight, but live on my street was the Marseille coach. No, he wasn't on my street, but he has done an interview, the Marseille coach. Does Todibo even play for Marseille? I get mixed up. I think he does play for Marseille. He plays for a French club anyway. Anyway, he has said tonight that he hopes it is just rumours that it's Nice. He plays for Nice, not Marseille. Who was at Marseille? I always say Marseille. Who was at Marseille? I don't think anybody was at Marseille. Monaco was disaster. Too many drinks. I've played the game, says Brandon. No, at the end of the day, Utrecht says this team sure does not act like one in the Champions League. The circus needs to leave town and all the clowns need the boot, says Utrecht. No, at the end of the day, Saliba was at Marseille. That's not who I was thinking about. Lee Berman's gifted a membership. So the Marseille coach has come out and said that basically he's hoping that it's just rumours connecting United to Todibo and he hopes that at the end of the window he will still be here. They know that at Nice that Todibo could go, and obviously Fiorentina know that Amrabat could go. It's an incredible thing. You know what it's like? Talking about the pub, I don't know whether you've ever been in this situation. You know, you look at the bar and the barman or woman or person or bar them, that means something completely different, has put a couple of pints on the bar for you, right? And he said they're nobody else's. They're Goldbridge's pints. I'm not having 2 pints. I'm with somebody. I'm not sat on my own drinking. I'm not a loner. Nothing wrong if you do want to sit on your own having a drink, by the way. Plenty of people. Saw them tonight, reading a newspaper, having a drink on their own. But I'm not having 2 pints sitting on my own. One of them's for the person I'm with, which is a male friend, if Mrs. Goldbridge is watching. I'm not having an affair. I haven't got the time. You know how busy I am. I couldn't be doing with a demanding lover on the side. Texting me all the time. I've got to do a video on Maguire, and also I wouldn't be having an affair anyway because I'm happily in love with you. Anyway, God, where's this show going? So the point I was trying to make is that the bar. Why have I put myself in the bar for an analogy? I'm just going to live it. The bar person has put 2 drinks on the table and said they're Goldbridge's drinks. No one else can buy them. The problem is I've got no money in my pocket. And he said, well, you're not having them for free. You've got to pay for them. And I've got to figure out a way to get those drinks that look brilliant and nobody else can have. But I've got to get the money. And that's very much the situation Ten Hag's in. He has got Amrabat and all I can think of is Todibo and Amrabat on a bar, like a couple of drinks. But they are there. They are there saying, not drink me, but they are saying buy me. And he's got to raise the money. And that's what he's got to that's what he's got to do. But he ain't got the bloody money. And the only way he can get that money is by selling players. And the only players that have any value is Maguire and McTominay. They're the only players that you know, specifically West Ham, have offered a combined £60 million for, which, to be honest with you, £60 million in Ten Hag's pocket now would be all his Christmases coming at once. So, as I say, bit long-winded, keep your eye on the team news tomorrow, because if McTominay starts, he ain't going. If he's on the bench, which I think he will be, at least, then there's still a chance. If Maguire's on the bench, he might not be going, because we don't really need him to be on the bench, although with the lack of left-backs, he probably will be as well. Keel says, are you open to the idea of Lukaku? I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to do a poll before I have that. Brilliant show already, Mark. Still losing it over the Bertrand rumours. Luke, stop trying to ruin the mood. Stop trying to ruin the mood, Luke. Mojo has gifted a membership. Thank you very much. We'll do a poll on Lukaku. Fluffy Tiger, thank you very much. Mojo's gifted 5 memberships now. Right, I'm just going to do a poll on this. I've got to read Souness while I'm pumped up here. Would you take Lukaku back? I want you back. I want you back for good. I've just realised, bloody hell. Look what I've got on. Hotter than the sun. You asked for it. It's out. Hotter than the sun for Rasmus. They're out. We do T-shirts as well. I forgot I was wearing this. It's out. Massive attacker. Hotter than the sun. Rasmus Højlund. It's out. Links in the description. United Stand Shopify. T-shirts, the lot. He's not playing tomorrow, but we've got it out there. Get in. Would you take Lukaku back at United? It's a very quick start. A lot of people are saying no. You know what? I feel like pulling my trousers down, turning around and saying kiss it. But I would never do that because I'm too much of a professional presenter. I would never do anything like that. But I feel like it. I feel like doing it because that's what I feel like saying. I don't want Lukaku back at Manchester United. I tell you what, I'd rather have Weghorst. I'd rather have Weghorst back at Manchester United, really. I would. I'd rather have a Garlo. I would not take Lukaku. I wouldn't do it. I see you as my father, Mark, and current state, Martial or Lukaku. Definitely Martial. Taking Lukaku back, says Andy, is almost like the Weghorst signing last January. The guy basically lost into the Champions League final. Taking Lukaku back is like taking an ex-partner back who didn't just cheat on you, they did it with the whole football team and then put it on Instagram. And I'm not saying Lukaku's been sleeping with people, but what I'm saying is, it's an analogy. Basically, I don't want him back. I don't want him back. He slagged the club off. He slagged Chelsea off. He slags everybody off. I don't want that sort of character at the club. Sorry. I didn't think he was good enough the first time round. I definitely don't want him back now. I can just, you know what? I'm going to wake up tomorrow with a headache. We're going to be signing Lukaku. I'm going to have to retract my statement and say, if Ten Hag wants him, I back him. I don't back you on this, Eric. Don't push it. Still waiting for the Harry Maguire. He's still learning shirts to come out. So Stephen Rossi. Oh, I've got to tell you what Seb said. Oh, I've got to tell you. We went down the. Obviously, he didn't come down the pub with me, but we went down the shop earlier to get some fish and chips. And it's Friday night, summer holidays, and I said to him, you know, Harry Maguire is still staying, and he went, yeah, I'm really happy about it. And I said, but you know he's greedy. And he said, what do you mean he's greedy? Because he's only 6. Not Harry Maguire, although some people would say he's got the mentality of a 6-year-old. I wouldn't. Seb's only 6. And he said that... Seb's still in the pub, says Pete. Get me another fruit shoot, you prat. He said, what do you mean he's greedy? And I said, well, other teams want... Manchester United don't want him. And they've told him to leave. Other clubs do want him, but he won't go because he wants loads and loads of money from Manchester United to leave. And that I'll tell you what, Harry, Seb's your biggest fan. You've lost him. Because you know what he said? He said, well, I don't like greedy people. There's a boy at my school who's greedy, and when they have the school dinners, he's always trying to get food off people's plate, and I think it's rude. So if Harry Maguire's trying to get lots of money out of Manchester United, it's just rude. And I said, but I thought Harry Maguire was your favourite player. And he said, well, I could probably help him. And I said, how are you going to help him? Because Seb thinks that Harry Maguire's staying at Man United because of him. He thinks that, you know, that assist he got in Dublin was because Seb's sending him positive vibes. So he said, if I could have a word with him, I'd get him to share his money with everybody. And I said, what, everybody in the world? He said, no, with the dressing room. And I actually thought, you know what? He's a little genius. Because basically, Harry Maguire should be sharing his wage with everybody in the dressing room because he's only relevant because of that dressing room. You know, he didn't get us in the Champions League. So there you go. Share your wages, Harry, with the people that make you relevant, i.e. the Man United dressing room. But he still likes Harry Maguire. I mean, and I'm not going to change his mind about it, even if I wanted to, which I wouldn't. Mojo is a legend. He definitely is. Right, let's just say this, right? Amrabat and Todibo are both available. The Nice coach has been talking about it, saying hopefully they'll get to the end of the window and he's still there, but they are expecting bids. In relation to Amrabat, he is waiting and has been waiting for ages. He is apparently of interest to Juventus at the moment. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But look, Man United, the one thing that will baffle me is basically what I'm expecting is if we don't sell a couple of players for some money, we won't get any signings. That's what I'm expecting. Because why have we waited this long? If we don't sell Maguire and McTominay and we still buy Amrabat, I'm going to be like, so you had the money all along. Why didn't you spend it? So I'm expecting we've got to sell to buy because that's what we've been saying. I'll be bloody fuming if we find the money and keep McTominay and Maguire, because ultimately we had the money anyway. So it's going to be an interesting few days. Keep an eye on that team news tomorrow is what I'm saying. Uhtred, welcome to the members club. Now let's just read what Graeme Souness has had to say. It's pre-season, Pratt season is what I call it. You know, we're early into the season. Pre-season's just been. A lot of these pundits have been on the sangria all summer or on the sun, maybe if they don't drink. But they've come back lightheaded and lost a few brain cells, because this is... I mean, I'm going to read it in its entirety because, I mean, look, who is Graeme Souness? I've played the game, but it's still dangerous. Of course it's dangerous. You know, whether you like it or not, he's a seasoned pundit that will get clipped up and put out all over the place, and people read it. And, you know, I don't always want to just, you know, analyse comments from ex-players, but this is a lot of what he says is out there from a lot of other people. I've heard Simon Jordan say this as well about Bruno and a few other bits. So look, these are Graeme Souness's words. I'm mystified. I'm not going to do it in a Scottish accent. I'm mystified. I'm mystified by the decision to make Bruno Fernandes captain. I saw him at Anfield last year and he totally gave up at the home of their biggest rivals when it became clear United would not get nothing from the game. I mean, that's bullshit. This is the damage that Gary Neville caused by not apologizing. I mean, Gary Neville is an ex-Manchester United player, an ex-Man United captain, who lied on live TV saying that Bruno Fernandes wanted to sub himself off, which he categorically didn't. And this is the damage it did, because you've still got people using that myth. It's so dangerous when people put lies out about you and then those lies start to become gospel. You know, I'm mystified that Bruno Fernandes is captain of Manchester United, says Graeme Souness, because I saw him at Anfield and he totally gave up at the home of the biggest rival when it became clear United got nothing from the game. I mean, it's just a nonsense. It's just an absolute nonsense. Bruno Fernandes did not want to come up, and he didn't give up any more than anybody else. The whole team, for some reason, fell apart. He's talented, but there are big question marks that come with him. He shows disrespect to his teammates on a regular basis by shrugging his shoulders and pulling faces, holding his palms outwards to the sky when they fail to pick him out with the pass. He's just not captain material. Right, you've got to be a bit old to remember this. This is sometimes where age comes into it. Graeme Souness, as a captain, couldn't give a toss. Roy Keane, the greatest Premier League captain in existence, used to throw his hands up in the air and shout at people. I remember him shouting at Phil Neville in one game, and Phil Neville looked like he was going to cry. And what would Souness say about that? How is that? You know, so it's just complete and utter foreign bias as per usual. Like, Roy Keane was an arsehole to the rest of the United team, and it worked. So what is a captain supposed to do? He can't shout and put his hands up at players who aren't performing to the level he wants to do. That's the whole point of being a bloody captain. And the reason he's captain of Manchester United, Graeme, is because as captain of Manchester United last season, he had a ridiculously good win ratio in a team that was ridiculously well organised and basically finished third because we didn't concede many goals. So whatever you think about Bruno Fernandes, he was a very successful captain last season, and that's why he's the captain. And if he's not the captain, who are you going to make the captain? Considering in his next bit, he says this. You know, he goes on to say, last year I was criticised for saying that Casemiro's a steady Eddie in midfield, but I stick by it. And now he's a year older and a year wiser in terms of English football. So let's see if he's better this season. I mean, what do you mean you stick by it? He was a steady Eddie. He was one of the best midfielders in Europe for Manchester United last season. We were bloody lost without him. So, look, incredible bullshit coming out there. But it goes on. He goes on, you know, and then guess where he puts his attention then? Ten Hag, basically saying that last season he signed Anthony and Martinez, and now he's signed Onana. They all played for him at Ajax, and now they've got to turn up for him. Yep, Martinez turned up last season, mate. You said he was too small. He turned up last season. He says it's a quantum leap playing for Ajax in the Eredivisie, then coming to the biggest club in England and playing a cup final every weekend. And that's what he's asked of these players. Yet we don't play a cup final in England every weekend, Graeme. We don't play a cup final in England every weekend. We play Luton. We play Sheffield United. We play Southampton. We play Nottingham Forest. We don't play a bloody cup final every weekend. He's acting like the Eredivisie is a pub league and we're playing a cup final every week. And he's throwing Martinez in with Anthony. Now, Anthony was very divisive last season. Martinez was a bloody revelation. This is the quality of punditry we have to put up with in the UK. Basically, we're going to get an ex-player on, and we're just going to let him talk absolutely out of his arse for half an hour about something he clearly has got no idea about. And what's a quantum leap? What is a quantum? It's a quantum leap. Let me have a look. Quantum leap. What does it even bloody mean? I know it was a crappy TV programme. What is the definition of a quantum leap? An abrupt change, sudden increase, or dramatic advance. He's actually got that right then. There we go. That's the only thing you got right in the whole thing, Graeme. But you know what? Shut up, wind it in, and focus on your own club. I don't mind people talking about Manchester United if they actually do their homework. But throwing Martinez in with Anthony is incredible. Querying why Bruno Fernandes is the captain, then slagging Casemiro off, is incredible. Who's going to be the captain if it's not Bruno and Casemiro then? I tell you what, I've got to see this. I need to see this. Who's the captain of Man United if it's not Bruno and Casemiro? Because if he comes out with Rashford, I'm going to laugh my bloody head off. Who would be the captain of Man United if it's not Bruno? Seriously. He probably thinks Maguire should be starting up front with the captain's armband. He's got a good head on him. You know, he wouldn't... No, Souness wouldn't want Varane as captain. No way. He's got the wrong passport. Did you watch 80s Quantum Leap? No, I didn't. I was aware that it was on, but I didn't watch it. No. Oh, Mojo's just gifted another 10 memberships. What a legend. Look, I didn't expect to get into that, but I want Bruno Fernandes as captain. I think as a captain, it's the one thing he does well at United. I think his performance is still up and down. Hey up, me duck. Wow. Now, I don't even agree with what I'm about to say here. Did you see what Kevin De Bruyne has said today? He was basically asked to rank Bruno, Odegaard and Maddison. And I don't think current players should be doing this, by the way. I think it's a bit classless for current players to do this. They're current professional players. They shouldn't be ranking their peers, I don't think, publicly for TV. I mean, I know we do it all the time, but I don't think current players should be doing it. I'm not actually that comfortable with it. But he did, and he put Bruno ahead of Odegaard. Kevin De Bruyne, the best number 10 in the league, certainly over the last few years, arguably the best attacking midfielder in the game. He put Bruno Fernandes ahead of Odegaard. So, you know, you've got Graeme Souness basically going in on Bruno. Gary Neville's done it. But then you've got Kevin De Bruyne, for me, the best in the Premier League, saying that Bruno Fernandes, you know, massively rates him and massively respects him because he says he's a chance creation magnet. So, look, I like Bruno. I want him to be the captain. I'm aware that he has his inconsistencies and I'm aware that he irritates people. But I actually quite like that he irritates people. It's good to have a shit house. It's good to have somebody that pisses people off. Herrera used to be bloody brilliant at it. And I think we should be embracing a captain like that, not singling him out. Because I think there's a lot of dangerous media around Man United at the moment. They've certainly got the knives out for Ten Hag. They've certainly got the knives out for Bruno Fernandes. And it's always the same thing. If you have a foreign passport, they're going to go for you. It's not looking good for the rest, for at least start of the season, says Drew. Rest of clubs shopping in Harrods and we're on the discount aisle at Poundland. Glazers out. Thank you, Drew. I won't be reading your surname because it's rude. Look, as I said at the start, I think in relation to the next few days, it's dangerous, of course. We've got absolutely no idea what United are going to do. I've been trying really hard today to find out from the usual suspects, you know, FR, DO, I don't know what I'm talking about. What we're doing, not SL. What we're doing, you know, what are Man United actually working on something? Because there's only a week to go, and honestly, it is a blank canvas trying to find something out about whether, you know what, if I had my phone, she's took it off me now. It's because of that bloody, it was there. She's been in and took it. It's because of what I said about those 2 drinks and the affair. My phone's gone. But if I had my phone in my hand, I'll use this instead. I don't know what it is. If I had my phone in my hand and I started pressing some buttons, oh, I know what that is. Green, blue, yellow, pink, light blue, normal, red. If I had my phone in my hand now and I go, hello, Fabrizio, and he says, you're not on a phone, Mark, you're on a light controller. Stop ruining it. What's happening at United now? What's going on? Are we working on any deals? No. That's what he'd say. Bruno is the optimum choice for captain, says Acid. Souness would select Heaton over Bruno if he could, says Bannon. Get your questions in. It's Friday night show, by the way. We haven't had a bit of a Q&A for a while. If she's checking my text messages, they'll just be boring stuff like, football related. We are not working on a transfer at the moment, is what I'm trying to say. We're not. Like, there's nothing advanced, in or out. Nothing's going on. Like a virgin, said someone in the chat. They didn't. I made that up. There's nothing going on. Souness needs to take his face for a crap, says Jake. Oh, that's a blast from the past. That is a blast from the past. And I like the name. I like the fact that people are using that. And Jake, I don't know whether you've taken that from me, but I was about 10 years old and I was round my grandparents' house and my uncle walked in and said to my gran, go and take your face for a shit. And everyone was just stunned. I mean, it's a very, very rude thing to say. And as much as I was disgusted by it, I did think I need to keep that back for school on Monday because that is brilliant. I'd never heard it before. I mean, rest in peace, Gran. She didn't die because he said that. He didn't give her a heart attack. But it was a very, very, very impactful put down. Well done for remembering it. Hi, Mark. Could we see a serious implosion like the Ollie Ranić season? I'm scared. There's so many issues on and off media. Will love to jump on Ten Hag, says Reese. Look, I've always said that the media will jump on Ten Hag the first chance they get because they never wanted him. But going back to what I was saying there, yeah, Man United aren't working on any deal at the moment. Like, nothing is advanced on Maguire, on McTominay, on Donny, on Dean Henderson, on Amrabat, on Todibo, on Gravenberch. They are all in the possible category. They are all in the monitoring FC category, but they are not advanced, none of them. And a week to almost to the hour, the transfer window closes. Brian Gallagher has been a member for a month. Hi, Mark. What's your favourite Indian dish? Says Asha. I wouldn't really eat anything at the moment because I had fish and chips. I feel really stuffed, so food's not really on my menu at the moment. I do like a good butter chicken or a tikka masala, which I think is the same thing. Let's just get a midfielder, centre-back and a striker on loan and then I woke up, says Mojo. If we were a serious club, we'd have wrapped up our transfers. Gravenberch, Amrabat, a centre-back and another striker. But, well, the proof is in the pudding, not Ten Hag, says Kia. Look, I was in the pub, if you didn't know, earlier on. And somebody said to me, and they weren't even a Man United fan. It wasn't me, by the way, talking to myself in the mirror. It was somebody who was a Villa fan, and they said to me, I look at United and I can't believe the summer you've had. And I said, talk to me. And they said, well, Martial was injured for most of last season. What's to make you believe that he won't be injured for most of this season? I said, good point, carry on. He said, so Martial will get injured. All you've got is a 20-year-old who is currently coming back from injury, but even if he's not injured, all you've got is a 20-year-old. That's all you've got just as up front for Man United. He said, Rashford's not a striker. He said, I don't even think he's that good, but he's definitely not a striker. And then you've got Garnacho and Sancho and Anthony, who are just basically, if you put them together, they wouldn't be consistent. They're so inconsistent. And your midfield's completely all over the place. He says the only thing you've got good going about you is your back five and Casemiro. Your keeper, your back four and Casemiro, when they're on it, is good. The rest of your team, you're mid-table. I said, oi, put that pint down, spit it out, I'm not having that. We're not a mid-table attack. We're not a mid-table attack. So I agree. I agree with you about our back five and Casemiro. You made a bloody good point, but you've ruined it by saying that the attack is a mid-table team. 8th place maybe, but not mid-table. But I think it was a fair point. And I would add to what that person said. If Casemiro gets injured, we're screwed as well. So if anything, we're probably lucky with the injuries we've had. I think Luke Shaw at left back is a loss, but you can do something. I think Mount's injury is a loss, but you can do something because you've got Eriksen. If we were to lose a Martinez or a Varane or a Casemiro or a Rashford or a Bruno, I think we're absolutely screwed. And at some point we will lose those players, because guess what those 5 players have got in common? They all played most of the 9 months last season and they all went to the World Cup. So they're probably going to get injured at some point. And then when we do lose Casemiro, or we do lose Rashford, or we do lose Bruno, or we do lose Varane or Martinez, then I think we are absolutely screwed. Hello, Goldbridge. Was Ronaldo right about Ten Hag? And do you think Manchester should have pulled the trigger for Kane? Says George. No. I mean, look, I'll moan about anything, you know me, but I'm not going to moan about that. I think that Harry Kane was not a possible deal for United to do. I really don't think that. Get your questions in, though. Love it. Would you take Lukaku back? 69% of you said yes. Oh, 69. Anyway. 69% of you said no, you wouldn't take Lukaku back. 31% of you said yes. I'm absolutely stunned that there are 31% of the United Stand community that would take Lukaku back. I thought you were better than that. I don't know what you're talking about. Ray says the club is a minefield. Ten Hag is wading through it blindfolded with a dysfunctional metal detector. What is he to do? Says Ray. Look, I don't want to bore myself, so I don't want to bore you, but I'm going to say something outrageous here because I want to. I am going to rank this transfer window out of 10 as a 2. I'm putting it as a 2. Now that might be influenced by a trip to down the road, but I'm putting it as a 2. Because if this transfer window closes as it is now, it's a 2. Why is it a 2, Mark? Because the Glazers are still here and they weren't meant to be. You've got to knock it down to a 6 straight away for that. The sales are an absolute joke, but they're compounded by the fact it's not just bad sales, it's rejecting a £30 million bid for Scott McTominay, and it's messing up a £30 million bid that was agreed with Harry Maguire. So not only have we not sold well, we've also missed an opportunity. And Dean Henderson, he should have been going to Forest. We waited on that all of June, and then Forest bought that Turner guy. So we've actually not only have we sold badly, but we've missed out on the opportunity of about 70 million quid, which then would have allowed us to buy Todibo and Rabat, which are waiting to come to United. So I think that's horrific. And then on the purchases, I really like Højlund, I really like Onana, and I really hope Mount works. But you've got to question the order of those deals, considering that 2 of those players aren't actually fit at the moment, and one of them is a replacement for a goalkeeper that if we were so tight for money, we should have just kept De Gea for another year and used the money elsewhere. So I think it's a shambolic transfer window, compounded by the fact that the season has started badly. I really don't think people understand how bad this transfer window is. And as I said, I think a lot of that is because certain people were part of the PR machine in early July, brainwashing fans that we were having a good window. And shame on those people. And they know who they are. Like, they were there, pontificating PR about the club because they get little inside information. And they don't realise that actually they're just facilitators for the Glazers. If you've been spinning PR for the club this summer about how good the transfer window's been, Arnold, Murta and everybody else who are involved in recruitment are just Glazer facilitators. So if you want to give them a big shout out, you're part of the bloody problem. You are. Gore, thank you very much for your super chat. If you would not have Lukaku back, would you go instead for a striker position? And will Ten Hag use a couple of the youth tomorrow? Says Darren. Well, there's talk that Mabry might be involved tomorrow on the bench, which I don't mind. I don't mind. Personally, I think he needs a loan. But if Mabry... I actually said in July, there's absolutely no chance that Mabry will be part of our plans this season. Because I don't think he was anywhere near Ten Hag's plans this season. But when you look at it now, the fact that Mabry could be involved shows you how messed up this summer transfer window is. Because I don't think Mabry was anywhere near Ten Hag's plans, but now we're going to use him because we're desperate. And not that he's a bad player, but it just shows you he's out of options. Mark, to be honest, I'm terrified, says Parser. Not for placement, but despite some fans being decently intelligent, some are very dumb and jump on Eric Ten Hag, says Parser. Thank you very much. Welcome to Members Club, Martin. We need Mbappe, says Rain Man. Well, I think that's the contrast between having the Glazers and having Qatar. And I don't want to depress people, but can you imagine what the what summer we would have had with new owners? It would be completely different. Completely different. What about Dan Gore, says Fernando? Dan Gore, Mabry, Fernandez. I just think it's a massive thing to throw them in to a team. Look, I've never been a fan of throwing young players into an underperforming team, because history has shown me, and I'm sure it's shown many of you, that young players that are successful tend to be thrown into a team that's already doing well. You know, you think about when Rooney came to Manchester United, there was a lot of good players around him to nurture and protect him. You look at the class of 92, you know, whether you're Giggs, Beckham, Butt, Scholes, you come into that United side and you look around and you've got Cantona, Roy Keane, Paul Ince, Steve Bruce, Peter Schmeichel, Dennis Irwin, you know, seasoned pros who can protect and nurture you. I never think it's a good idea when the team's on its knees and underperforming to go, let's throw a young player in, because that's not how you develop young players. And there are always going to be exceptions to the rules who can do that. But we as fans, I mean, I've seen people go in on Garnacho, Chong over the years, and you know, I don't think that's what we should be doing with young players. I really don't. Martinez can play CDM, says Del. Well, I think we're the only people who think that Martinez can play CDM. I'm not going to listen to that bullshit, to be honest with you. This happened with Casemiro last season, and all I could see in the chat was Martinez can play CDM, Lindelof can play CDM, and Ten Hag has never done it. So I don't see them as CDM options. I really don't. We never do business until at least July. Do you think for the month of June we should have been focusing on sales? Eric Ten Hag already knew his target, says Lee. I don't know why United weren't working through sales in June and early July. I don't know what we do. I don't think they know what they do either. It's incredible how long we take to do deals. And I find it fascinating. Well, I don't find it fascinating. I find it scary. How long we take to do stuff. It really is. And we can't sell. And you know what? I think there is a bit of a sympathy club in our fan base for various players that don't deserve it, and for various board members that many of you don't even know but seem to want to believe that they're good at their job. I don't like to say this, but the certain names that we talk about a lot, director of football, CEO, I don't think they're very good at their job. And I don't know them, and I've never spoken to them, but I don't think they're very good at their job based on what I've seen over the last few years. They never, ever make me think you're good at your job. Look, Mason Mount, oh, what? You did a transfer? Wow. You bought a player for a price that was probably a little bit overvalued. Wow. What do you want? A gold medal? Anana, you paid probably what he was worth for a goalkeeper that Ten Hag wanted. Rasmus Højlund, you probably paid a little bit too much. And I want that player. You know, I think he's a fantastic player, but I think we probably paid too much. So, and I'm talking about transfers here. Like, I like Anthony. We paid 30 million euros too much. I like Martinez. We paid 10 million euros too much. So there's just no evidence of these people being good at their job. And it's always going to be damage. you know, there's idiots out there that say Erik Ten Hag has spent nearly £500 million in his first 2 years at the club. I don't know what calculator they're using, by the way. It's not £500 million. I think they're pretending pounds are euros and then adding 100 as well. But even if Ten Hag spent 400 million, he's really spent 3, because he doesn't negotiate the price. Like Anthony, you can't say Ten Hag spent 85 million euros on Anthony, because he didn't do the deal, and Anthony's not worth that. And I always think it's unfair on a manager when people start saying, I can't, you know what, I can't. I was driving to London yesterday. Let me just read this chat, actually. The De Gea debacle in June should have been the biggest indicator of what was to come. With club's improvements, we are actually worse than last year, says Nick J. Mojo's just gifted a membership. Thank you very much. I was driving to London yesterday, and an Arsenal fan came on, right, on the radio, and they said, basically their words were this. I'm tired of hearing people, United fans, talking about Ten Hag needing time. He's had loads and loads of money, and it's time he delivered. There's no more excuses. And I was like, well, it's an Arsenal fan for a start, but there are a lot of intelligent Arsenal fans. But I was like, why is my club? Why have you got the freedom to spout shit about my club like you know what's going on? Like, he's only been here a year. You were probably wearing an Arteta out t-shirt after a year with Arteta, and look how that worked out. Ten Hag's only been here a year. He inherited the worst ever Man United Premier League side, and the money he's spent, to anybody who's got a brain, is irrelevant. And I'm tired of saying this, because when Ten Hag took over Manchester United, every rival fan and every Man United fan would, if they had a brain, say what Ranić said. That team needs open heart surgery. Open heart surgery, you don't go down Poundland and get a scalpel and just go and do it with a pair of scissors and a bit of cotton. Open heart surgery costs a lot of money in a footballing sense. We spoke about this last summer and said probably somewhere between £500 million and £1 billion to build a team. And you've got to get it right first time. And yet you get people saying Ten Hag spent 500 million. He's had enough. He shouldn't get more time. And I'm like, this is like if you're a builder and you say, I'll build your house, but it's going to cost me £1 million. And you're halfway through building it. Why haven't you done it now? You've had enough money. It's ridiculous. Man United, nobody ever said Man United would be title winners from where they were with £500 million. And if they did, they're a fool. They're an absolute fool. That team that Ten Hag inherited needed £1 billion spending on it, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion. And you've got these absolute sawdust head prats who say, oh, United fans are moaning, but Ten Hag's had £500 million spent on him. Well, he hasn't had £500 million spent on him. And can we just get this straight? He doesn't decide on the figures. Anthony shouldn't have been bought for that price. Martinez was a little bit overpriced as well. Højlund, we probably paid too much on. Mount, we spent too much on. If Ten Hag, I don't know the exact figures, but if Ten Hag's had £350 million spent on him, a decent director of football would have got those same players for £250. So I think it's really unfair when people start saying Ten Hag spent all this money, because he hasn't. It's been spent badly. And that's what pisses me off, is that I don't mind people having a pop at Ten Hag. I don't mind people having a pop at Manchester United. But what does irritate me is, and look, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but it doesn't mean it doesn't irritate when people come out with such crap about Casemiro's no good this year, or Ten Hag's had enough chances, it's time for him to go, or Ten Hag's had £500 million, he shouldn't get any more money, it's enough. And I'm like, fucking hell, it's so flip-flop, it's ridiculous. That United side that he inherited needed £1 billion spending on it. it's so logical. You need 2 strikers. You need probably 3 midfielders. You need 2 centre-backs. You need a right back, a goalkeeper. That's straight off the top of my head. That's 9 players. And, of course, those 9 players have got to be of the quality of what Man City and Arsenal have got. So those 9 players, on average, are going to cost you probably average 70 million for every player. 9 times 70 is 630 million straight away. And you're probably still going to have to buy 3 or 4 others. So it's incredible. It's incredible how people analyse another football club. I mean, I can look at, if I look at Spurs, right? If Spurs got took over by Qatar and they got in a manager like Nagelsmann, and after 12 months, he takes them to a Carabao Cup final and wins it, takes them to the FA Cup final and loses, and gets them 3rd place, and he's only spent 350 million quid in year 1, and then in the first 2 games of season 2, the team doesn't look very sharp because he hasn't had a good summer transfer window, and he loses a game, and people are ringing up saying he's had enough money, get rid of him. I would say, as a non-United fan, looking at Spurs, I'd say that's bloody ridiculous. You know, when he took over that job at Spurs, it was very clear that he would need to spend about $1 billion to get them anywhere near Man City. And I can't believe people don't see that with United. There's this real ignorance around Manchester United from certain media outlets, certain ex-players, I think, as well, and certain rival fans, and certain people in our fan base. There's a real ignorance that is so basic that if you spend a couple of £100 million, you should automatically be winning the treble. And that is incredible. And I often wish I was sat having a pint with these people, because it would be the easiest conversation in the world. I'd buy them a drink to make them feel sad, you know, to make them feel better when they get absolutely humiliated. 2, 3, 400 million pounds for Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United. It's not going to touch the sides anymore. How much has Man City spent in the last 10 years to build a dynasty? 300 or 400 million pounds is not going to move. If I spent 300 or 400 million pounds on Liverpool, I don't know that they would challenge City. I don't think people realise the enormity of the challenge that Manchester City have set in the Premier League now. But you still get these pundits and fans who go, Ten Hag's had 300 or 400 million pounds. He should be delivering the title. Oh my God, what are you talking about? So now you can give 300 or 400 million pounds to Ten Hag when he comes in and inherits the club, and you'd expect him to win the league. Absolutely incredible. So stupid. If we miss out on Amrabat, who is Plan B? Says Ali. McTominay probably. Let's go. Almost a year, says Ryder. Nearly been a rider for 12 months. Thank you very much. Hello, Goldbridge, says George. I've done that one about Ronaldo. Was Ronaldo right about Ten Hag? I don't know about that, to be honest with you. I don't know about that. I think the Ronaldo interview with Piers Morgan... Look, the problem with the Ronaldo interview with Piers Morgan is that the Ronaldo interview with Piers Morgan was to get Ronaldo out of Man United. And I think it was just a publicity stunt, so I never really respected that interview. There was a few things said in there that I think were true. Oh, you know what I do? I want to show you something. I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to forget. I've added it to the background. I'm really quite pleased with these, so get ready. Have a look at these beauties. Treated myself. Look at that. I don't think I'll ever wear them. I don't think I could get them on. They're like slip-on football boots. But I just like the red and the black. I tell you what, if I was still playing, if I've played the game, and if I was still playing, I'd be there with a pair of them. They're not pink, they're red. Football boots these days. I tell you what, if they'd been making boots like this when I was 18, Shearer's Premier League record would have been buried by the time I was 23. They're just the technology is amazing. When I used to play, you'd have laces, you know, spinning off everywhere. They're absolutely fantastic. They're absolutely incredible. I thought the background wasn't real, says Moo. Are you joking? Do people genuinely think that that's not a real background? Why would I put a radiator in? Thank you everybody for watching. Remember, tomorrow's a match day. Really looking forward to that. A match day tomorrow. Very interesting to see what he does with Maguire and McTominay. I'm hoping neither of them are in the match day squad. I suspect they'll both be in it because I don't think we're working on exits at the moment. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Only the real ones are here on a Friday night. The Friday night show's always a little bit different. I'll watch it back myself to make sure that I'm not going to get in trouble with the missus. But thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Don't forget, tomorrow we are live. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff, watch along, fan forum, countdown to kickoff, all that stuff in the studio. Really looking forward to it. You're all legends. Speak to you all in a bit. Oh, if you want to get one of these, by the way, links in the live chat and in the video description. United Stand Shopify, hotter than the sun. Rasmus. Speak to you in a bit.